Hey y'all, how's it going? So we have the overnight range here, highs, lows range. This move down when it bounced, that's obviously what formed the highs and the lows. And so that's our range, and then we have this move up, and then a measured move. Once this bounced here, I put it to there. It's at the high, which is very nice to see, because that means I can expect it to actually reach the high and play out the range rules. But so yeah, that's why I like this trade so much, because I'm expecting such a massive second leg, and even my 1 to 2 target isn't even that big compared to how big I'm expecting the next leg to be. And it is buying into the high of this up move basically, but I mean, I'm really just playing the range, and I'm expecting it to reach the other side. We have perfect context, and then I'm able to get out before the nearest major swing high. This is the nearest major swing high. I would want to get out before that, because when you're entering and then there's a major swing, that can often be, resistance. So it didn't really react off of it here, but that would have been a requirement, is to get out before this, which was obviously no problem. So, very, very nice trade. Breakout pullback with the bias, and it's a big picture failed second entry, basically. If you think about it, we have the first leg up, the break, second leg. It's not nearly as big, but we're expecting that second leg up. And so we have that push higher, breakout pullback. I'm expecting to make the second leg, and we do. Then I got this up here, and I saw Mike also got this, which is very, very nice trade here, and I was glad to see he posted it as well. So, but I don't know if we entered the exact same way. I'll check out the site again to see exactly how we entered, but how I did it was I had this STT, and if you draw the STT, it's blocked. The initial entry is blocked, and so I was too scared to go short here, because I was afraid I was just going to get stopped out. Like, that's not even valid for me. I can't take that. But when I got the lower high, it's such a good context area. We met the measured move. It's two big spikes, which are, you'll oftentimes get symmetry. Like, if you look at your charts and you find the spikes, whether they're really small or really big, like right here, it's spiked up, made a symmetrical move, and almost did that here, but it did end up holding. But that's like a massive spike. It's not like taking forever in a trend. It's just going straight up in 2 legs to the highs. And so I'm really expecting a reversal. But like I said, I was too scared to go short with the short-term trend line. And so I knew I only needed to close out. I don't need this trend here to play out. Like, this trend does not need a break in a new high, because it's the second leg. The second leg does not need to play out. And so only the initial leg does. Uptrend, break, new high. You don't got to worry about that leg right there. So I ended up taking the lower high, because it's a good looking entry. It closed out of the trend line here. But I put my stop at the high, because I know I can do that. And I have plenty of room. I'm not entering into a major swing. I have plenty of room down to here, which after that forms, I ideally would probably want to raise that to there after it takes off. But I have plenty of room to the nearest major structure. There's no reason not to go for 1 to 2, even though I'm putting my stop above the full swing instead of just the smaller one. So, I mean, it looked perfectly good to me. And yeah, I was happy to see Mike also caught that. And anyway, so we go into this downtrend here, which it should be like that. We had this overshoot, and then it led to a break. So downtrend, overshoot. We attempt to reach the other side once, it fails, we push lower, and then as soon as we reach the trend line, we break. And yeah, there's a good-looking trade here. So I saw that someone on the site, they went short there, and they got stopped out, which that sucks, really. But really, when I look at that, like, you see how the measured move, it's like it almost reaches it there, because when this measured move, it actually doesn't even reach it there. Ideally, you would want it to reach it, but when you have a crazy bullish bar just like that, and then your entry is immediately after, and it's like, you can tell, like, that leg is a little bit stronger than that leg. It just pushed up more, and then it just doesn't really feel like it's met. You know what I mean? I mean, it's mainly just trading for so long, but it goes along with the measured move a lot better right here. You see what I mean? And it actually like really reaches it, and it's clear, kind of like here, it really reaches it. That, it like barely doesn't reach it, and you have a major bull bar right before. So, and then if you did also draw this right here, this obviously closes in STT. This closes out. If I draw it as wide as I can off that body, it still closes out. And so if you draw it like that, obviously it closes in, but it's okay to draw them off the closes, not the opens. And then the highs fit better that way too. But so that's why I think that lost right there. But I didn't take either of them because I was out of the room. I was disappointed that I missed it. I actually thought that this looked pretty good, but yeah, it's unfortunate you got stopped out there. But really just focus on the measured moves playing out more, because like they played out here on this massive picture measured move, and if it doesn't quite reach it on the small picture, it's, if it misses it by a tick and it's just a few points move anyway, that's kind of a big deal. So just keep that in mind. But we do have a downtrend. We have a break, new low. Oh, I forgot. At first, I started drawing this after we started getting these bounces. After we bounced there, I drew this, and then we ended up bouncing there again. So to me, that's confirmation of a bullish imbalance. Now, when you get a bullish imbalance, you can draw a trend like this. Now, I don't think it's valid. Keep in mind, right now I have it removed, but you can draw this, and then if you successfully break out, this will likely be the trend for the day. But right now, the range is the main structure of the day, and in order for this to become in play, it would have to override the range, which means that it would have to break out successfully, break out, pullback, and then continue up with this trend. But since we successfully faded, I removed it, and now you might say, okay, but what about the 3 touches? Isn't that confirming it? And it's like, yeah, 3 touches does confirm, but I mean, like if you zoom out and then make it so this looks like a more normal sized trend, this is a big picture trend. I mean, that's really one test. That's 1, 2, 3. Like the bigger the channel, if you get a couple of smaller tests, that don't reach the other side first, it really doesn't matter as much because, on a big picture, it's like, that's just one test, So I did remove it after we faded successfully. Clearly the range won out. We're still playing the range rules, so that's just how I played it. And even though you'll get stuff like this, let me get that redrawn. You see how we retested it here? It's like, yeah, that's going to happen. Technically, there's resistance along that area, and it has a break. You might say, is that uptrend break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher, failure? And it could be, but you don't have to play it that big picture. You have these 2 major legs up, first leg break, second leg reversal, and then I just played this downtrend, went to a range. I just played it like that. It's easy to accidentally draw the way too big picture stuff for what you're doing, because clearly this is the major structure of the day. We're not in any kind of trend. So anyway, let's see, where was I? I feel like I don't want to accidentally skip over anything. Oh yeah, I think I was over here. So, whoops. So after the downtrend has a break in new low, we rush above the EMA. So that's sign of a bullish imbalance. And so after we got the bullish imbalance, I drew this, just like I said, and then we pushed higher, and then I was waiting to see if it would come back, and then it did, but I had to leave the room before this. I like this trade, even though it's not perfectly closing above the EMA, and it also has those 2 legs. You can still expect it to reach its measured move. Now, the reason that I like this trade so much, just to the end of this measured move, if I were to be at my desk while it happened, I would have only gone to the end of the measured move. The reason I like it so much is because that just confirmed the bullish imbalance. Now it confirms the bullish imbalance, and then you get a first entry short, second entry short, failure. I don't know why I just deleted these measured moves, but you're expecting it to complete this measured move. You got enough room to get a nice trade out of it. Right after confirming the bullish imbalance, confirming that trend line. So I really do like it, because you can play it while it's in play, you know. But we push higher, we draw this wider trend here, we go into this, we have uptrend, we have a break, new high. I don't see any entries to make it. There's no way that you can buy any of that. And I was not particularly wanting to short either because of the bullish imbalance, so I wasn't looking for any shorts in here. But we do push up to the overnight high again. We bounce off of it. I didn't really want to short anything because I was thinking of this uptrend, but you know, realistically, even with a bullish imbalance, you can go short. You do need room to the trend line. You got to be more careful. I personally would limit in my targets, limit them into 1-to-1, so don't go for more than 1-to-1 generally, is what I'd say if you're in an imbalance counter trend trading, basically. And so, because that's really what it is. I mean, if you're going short in here, you basically are counter trend trading. I mean, you're still in the range, but it has a bullish bias. So, you know, it's kind of what it is. But we push lower. We didn't reach the trend line. There's no way that you can take any trades in here. And then we push out of the highs again, and then we fade down. I, once again, was not looking to go short. I was waiting for either to break out successfully or to fade and then delete this, and that's what ended up happening. So I deleted it. We had this massive push down. So downtrend, break, expecting a new low, and we have this first attempt, this break, so break, two-legged break, and then that's the trade. So downtrend, break, first attempt lower, and then I entered on the second attempt lower, two-legged break, measured, and it didn't quite reach it, but if you draw that, you see how I kind of drew it as a trend line. It did close out of that trend line right there. I did like this trade, and oh, also one thing I'm forgetting to show here. At first, it's like this. And so, and I actually did lower my target one tick. I made it 18 ticks because I wanted to get out before the lows. So it was the two-legged break, first attempt lower, entry on the second attempt lower, getting out before those lows. And I think Mike also caught this trade. So me and Mike got a couple of the same trades today. So that's cool. But so anyway, it bounced there. We broke out here again. I don't see any good short there. I mean, really, to me, it just looks like we have a couple higher highs again. We bounced right at where the bullish imbalance basically started. It started there, and then it kind of confirmed there, and that's where we have the double bottom right there. But it's not like you can't go short because of that. I mean, you absolutely can, but you know, I just, considering that, and then we have these higher lows and stuff, I don't really want to just take that first short, even though it's to the tick a failed second entry, and it's a big picture, just higher low. I didn't think it was worth it, but this range does start getting bigger. After we have this second breakout, I didn't want to take that either. Just one leg up, it makes a new low. First entry, not worth it. And so I do eventually extend it to here after that breakout pushes back lower. Clearly we can extend the range. And then, you know, we bounce off the lows. We have this higher low, which I didn't like it because it's just downtrend break, first attempt, and I was afraid it could make a second attempt and stop me out. So I didn't like that. And then I took this stupid trade. I honestly don't have a good reason for why I took it. I kind of just took it, you know. I mean, we all know how that goes. Sometimes you just take stupid shit. Excuse me. I don't mean to swear. But you know, I forgot what. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's how I tricked myself. I drew this uptrend. I was like, "There's an overshoot. You know, you can probably." Oh, and I also had the range lowered to those breakouts. So I was like, you know, you can just get it, ride it to the end of the range. You know, that's small enough. It'll just break on through. You should need room to that. That's pretty significant. I really just tricked myself somehow, just emotional thing, whatever. You know, got stopped out pretty fast. But I was done after that. I didn't even feel like trading after that because you know, it was such a stupid trade. I just couldn't believe I took it. But anyway, right after, I wish I stayed a little bit longer. I like was watching those legs, but then I just left. I wish I stayed because this actually looks pretty decent. So like I said, we bounced off. We made this double bottom with where the bullish imbalance initially started over here, and then we started getting these higher highs. And then we have this. We have this right here. So let me just make that red so it's easier to see, or orange. There we go. So we have this right here, first leg break, expecting second leg, and it didn't quite reach it, and I mean it basically reached it, but technically it didn't. And so what I'm thinking is we have higher highs, we're making another higher high right here. It's a breakout pullback of this range, and you know, it looks pretty good, and it's a failed breakout of this range right here. And I was just and I'm thinking, you know, maybe just ride that to the end. Obviously not in real time, I'm thinking this afterward, but it just looks pretty good. And then you have the two measured legs, and then uptrend, two-legged break, expecting a new high. You can look at it as uptrend, break, first attempt higher, entry on the second attempt higher, get out at those highs. That looks great, to be honest. I wish I stayed like 15 minutes longer or whatever, but yeah, so we make that new high. We don't reach the overnights, but we do turn down early, so that's often where it gets more choppy. When you don't reach the lows, you don't reach the highs, that's when it really starts getting confusing. But yeah, we faded on down, and we got those two legs out, we faded down, and we went into this downtrend. I haven't really looked at most of this stuff yet. I kind of just quickly drew it before the video, but referring to just this stuff at the end here. And then we have this downtrend, overshoot. I don't think that's worth taking just because it's an overshoot. It's really just one leg down, and then if you draw it from here, this trend, it's got short-term trend line. You know, this doesn't look great. Then you get first leg up here, so leg up, and then break. You know, you are at the low there, but it broke through, and it looks like it has short-term trend line. If you draw it like that, it absolutely does, but it has an overshoot if you do that, and that's pretty small. If you draw it off the body, it basically just has STT. It really just doesn't look that good. I mean, it's not a perfect entry. It didn't hold on the trend line well, and I would just avoid it. I think that this right here actually doesn't look terrible because you're still expecting to finish the measured move. You can go 1-to-1. You got room to the highs. The measured move is at the highs. And that's where you expect prices to get to anyway, because that's how ranges work. And so if you can see first entry short, second entry short failure, I mean, I think that actually looks pretty decent, because even though you have two legs up there, it hasn't completed the measured move, and you're expecting it to reach the end of the measured move. A long time ago, you can actually see this if you look at some of the older videos from like 5 months ago. I wasn't as effective when I was trading failures, because I would see that as two legs up, and then I often just wouldn't even take them because I'm afraid of it being, oh, two legs up, it's too late. But they really do. The measured moves are important. They do try to reach them, and you'll oftentimes see the measured moves are often at key entry points like ranges. And also another example is if I draw this right here, this channel that I had, that measured move is exactly to the high of that channel. So it's very common. If you draw the measured moves right, if you draw your stuff right, you really got to get good at drawing them right. The measured moves will oftentimes be at the key entry points, and that really, really helps you out. So just keep that in mind. It happened there, it happens all over the place every day. So anyway, and as soon as we reach it, we plummet down. We have a couple legs down. I don't really see any good shorts. It's really just we push lower, and then it's very congestive. So that's basically it for the day. We push out of the range with a couple legs, and now we're fading. I don't particularly see any great entries. And then it looks like you can just kind of draw this down, all of them. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Hope this video helped out, and yeah. I'll see y'all next time.